Right then, so really practical session. Welcome to this. It's all about helping you with getting your goals 2025. What works, what doesn't, what's proven, and the simple things you can do to implement, plug in straight away, and just crack on and get some results. That's what we want for you. And that's what tonight's all about. So, the title gives a little bit away how to achieve your 2025 fitness goals without killing yourself in the gym and eating like a budgie, because some people think you've got to do one or both of them to get results, and you don't have to do either. And we're going to tell you why. Let's get into it. So, the first thing we're going to look at is how to train. Okay, so we're going to split this into categories of how to train for fitness in terms of fat loss and body recomp, and we're going to split it into muscle gain and hypertrophy. So let's get into it. So firstly, let's look at it. So a lot of people in January are thinking about fat loss and body recomposition training. So when you look at that, there's a few key things that are proven to work over and over and have stood the test of time. So one thing you want to look at first and foremost is progressive strength training 3 to 4 times a week. Now, progressive strength training means that we are aiming to get stronger over time. We're looking to add load to the bar, or we are looking to add a stimulus that is going to force an adaptive response. So that can be adding reps, adding weight to the bar, time under tension, more work in a given session. These are all ways we can increase intensity and drive change. But over time, you do want to get stronger and add more weight to the bar. How do we want to do this? Even for fat loss training and recomposition work, we want to look at a rep range of 5 to 12 per set, because we don't want to do high rep toning work too much, because that limits the strength gains we can get. So we want to be able to load up the body enough to produce an adaptive response. When we say 5 to 12 reps per set, all those will work. If you're working with 5 to 6 reps, you're going to be able to add more weight to the bar than if you have 12 reps per set. Doesn't mean one's more effective than the other. What you probably do want to consider is every 3 to 6 weeks, if you're doing 5 to 6 reps per set, in your next phase of training, increase your reps maybe to 10 to 12, or even pushing up to 15. So we're working blocks where we do lower rep, high strength work, and then we move into a block where we try and get that weight higher for higher rep work, because we're getting stronger all the time. Well, thirdly, we want to focus on compound lifts, approximately 80% of the exercises. So the bulk of your training wants to be multi-joint compound lifting, things like squats, deadlifts, lunges, rows, pull-ups, dips, overhead pressing, vertical and horizontal press, vertical and horizontal pulls. That wants to be the bulk of your training. Adding in curls, lateral raises, tricep work, specific core work, there is a place for it, but that doesn't want to be the bulk of your training. If you want to lose fat, build strength, you want to be able to work on the bigger lifts most of the time. Okay, second part of effective fat loss training is when we look at expenditure and we look at energy systems work. So we've got something called liss, which is low intensity steady state. This type of training is your low intensity bike, cross trainer, rower, treadmill walking that can be done, but is not essential depending on your calorie input. So we'll cover all this, and you'll be able to piece it together and you'll understand it more. So you can do it, and I do recommend for most people at least one session a week, steady state training, 30 to 50 minutes, uphill treadmill walk, not getting out of breath, heart rate 60 to 70% of your maximal heart rate. So we're talking low intensity, nice and steady work. You can also, if you don't like that kind of training, you could add in work capacity, high intensity work in your weekly schedule, 1 or 2 of those a week. These can be things like your sprints on an air bike, a watt bike. They can be ski erg intervals, sled work, sprints on a treadmill, which are all work to rest interval based training. So if you're short on time, that can be very efficient. But I do like that to be the minority of your work, and there be more strength work in your training program. And then we'll look at the calorie deficit, the energy deficit based on your nutrition. Third part, ideally getting somewhere 10 to 20K steps a day to increase your expenditure without hampering your training recovery. So that is just a case of it's expenditure work. We are expending more calories without digging deep into your recovery abilities. So you can still recover from your strength work, but you are increasing the amount of calories you are burning on a daily basis. Okay? So now we'll look at effective hypertrophy training. So that's building muscle, getting bigger, getting stronger. A lot of the research now is showing quite comprehensively that we need to be hitting muscle groups twice a week if they are a priority. So let's just say you want to bring up your arms, you want to build some bigger arms, you want to build your calves, whatever it may be, your shoulders. You need to be hitting that muscle group twice a week for optimal muscle growth, based on all the latest research that's come out of the past 2-3 years. Again, reps per set for hypertrophy training, you can go as low as 5, you can even go to 12 or beyond 12. But we still want to be building that strength in each session, getting stronger if we can over a period of time. Next point is training very close to failure on your sets. We used to think that you had to always train every single set to failure to grow a muscle. We've now found out through a lot of research in the past couple of years, Brad Schoenfeld, people like that, done some great work on this. You don't actually have to go to complete muscular failure on every set, but you do want to be getting very, very close. So there may be on the last rep of your set, you are very, very much struggling to complete the rep, but you can complete the rep. The next rep might be where you would hit failure. That's the kind of intensity on your sets you want to be looking at. So you're training hard, but you're not taking every set to complete failure where you cannot move the bar or the machine any further. Another point which we know to be effective for hypertrophy work is slow tempo reps. So we always want to, where possible, keep the tension on the muscle as much as humanly possible on every millimeter of every repetition. So slow eccentrics especially. Full range repetitions. So if we can, we want to be using a load that allows us to fully contract and fully extend a muscle, stretch position to full contraction position on your lifts if you have the mobility to lift like that. And like I said, slow tempo, especially on the lowering, the lengthening of the muscle, where we want to try and keep that 2 to 3 seconds. So it's very slow and controlled on the lowering of the weight. The total volume of your workouts will depend on your recovery. So that when I used to do some seminars, I used to go to strength and conditioning seminars with some of the world's top coaches. It was always a point raised that there was no such thing as overtraining. There is only under recovery. So if you are sleeping enough, you are getting your nutrition right, you are not completely stressed out, wired on caffeine all day, and you are looking at the outside the gym factors, you can probably push more intensity and more volume. But like I said, that depends on your sleep, your stress levels, nutrition, and all the outside the gym factors. The good way of telling if you are recovered is you should be on your workouts able to progress by a rep, an extra second under tension, maybe more weight on the bar. There should be some form of progression workout to workout. If you do not feel adequately recovered, most workouts you should not be trying for a PB. You might reduce the volume, reduce the intensity, you might reduce the load on the bar slightly. If you feel like you haven't slept well and you haven't recovered, you might alter the stress on the body in that session. Listen to your body as well. It's all right having a plan, but you need to listen to your body as well to optimally recover and adapt from training. Because remember, training is a stimulus. We then recover, we adapt, super compensate, get stronger, get muscles bigger before we go again. That's how the training adaptation cycle works. Okay. As well, next thing when it comes to hypertrophy training, we sometimes consider 3 to 5 sets per exercise, but usually that's inversely proportional to the number of reps per set. So if you were using, for example, 5 reps per set, you might be doing a traditional 5x5 training program. So 5 sets, 5 repetitions, heavy. If you were going lower than 5 reps to, let's say, 3 repetitions or 4, you might do 6 sets of that exercise. If your reps get higher, you're doing 12s and 15s, you'd probably be lowering that to 3 to 4 sets per exercise. So remember, reps and sets are inversely proportional when you're looking at hypertrophy training. Next one. Also, what to focus on, whether it's the fat loss training in the first slide or if it's hypertrophy training on the second slide. Sleep is the best adaptogen there is, and it's free. Getting good quality sleep and everything you can do, blackout blinds, sleep masks, magnesium supplements, meditation before bed, whatever you have to do to sleep better will help your training results. That's been proven on every study that's ever been done on sleep, training, and performance. Okay, so whatever you can do to get good sleep, ideally 7 to 9 hours per night, do that. It's massively important. You may focus on getting the next supplement or the next hack in your training, but let me tell you, from 25 plus years in the trenches, if you get your athletes and you get your clients to sleep better, their fat loss, their strength, their hypertrophy results always get better. Second thing, hydration. Hydration is massively important for the pumps you get in the gym. It's important for fat loss programming because, one, it helps you feel fuller. So it reduces appetite if you're on a fat loss plan and you're feeling hungry all the time. So hydration is massively important. Also, as well, if you start really pushing the envelope with hydration and go into 3, 4, 5 liters a day, look at your minerals, look at essential hydration salts as well. You might want to consider that. If you sweat a lot or you're training multiple times a day, look at that in terms of hydration. And as well, steps. Even if you are trying to just bulk up, you're looking at hypertrophy, steps, you should always keep your step count reasonably high. Yes, if you're on an aggressive cut, a fat loss plan, steps want to be as high as possible within reason. You don't want to be walking through the night. You still want to be getting your sleep in, but always above 8K, even if you're on a hypertrophy plan, I recommend to everybody. Walking is good for you no matter what, helps with digestion. And it's if you do more than 8K steps per day, you will live longer. There's studies on that. You can Google it yourself. So steps is not just for fat loss. Second issue we are going to consider now, which is probably the biggest source of questions I get and a lot of the work I work on with people, is nutrition. Because like I put here, it is a minefield, especially since social media. It's like the Wild West of people who lose fat or look good because of their genetics, not necessarily because of their training or their nutrition. Okay. Some of these people look great, and some of it's down to genetics, and sometimes it's due to things beyond genetics. So don't always follow what people do who look good. There's a slight issue with that. So the most important factors to keep it simple when it comes to nutrition, and this is whether you are trying to get bigger and stronger or whether you're trying to subtract fat and get leaner. Three key things: daily protein intake, daily calories, and the amount of nutritious, nutrient-dense, single ingredient foods. We'll dive into these a little bit more now. So protein. Here's some numbers for you based on some of the world's top protein researchers and some of the papers I've read over the past 10, 15 years. For fat loss and body comp training, approximately 1.6 to 1.8 grams per kilo body weight daily. Okay? If you are really trying to push growth and bulk, hypertrophy and bulking, 1.8 grams to 2.2 grams per kg body weight per day. There's studies where they've gone higher than 2.2 grams per kilo, and I'm yet to see a proper evidence to suggest there's any need to go higher than that. We do know that higher than that is safe on the kidneys. I think it was Jose Antonio did a study of up to 4 grams per kilo, and they found no effect on kidney function, liver function. So there is no safety issues above 2.2 grams per kilo per day, but I don't think there's any efficacy or reason to go that far and go above that. So that's why the numbers are there, what they are. Okay, hope that makes sense. Next one, calories. So if you're looking at losing body fat slowly, steadily, and properly, 300 to 500 calories or energy deficit per day for sustained long-term fat loss. Okay? You can go higher than a 500 calorie a day deficit, but I don't recommend it for long because life will be miserable. You probably won't stick to it long, and you'll probably end up rebound and binging and doing all sorts of things that you don't want long term. I've always recommended, it's super simple, use a calculator like the one on here, the calculator.net. You can go on there for macro calculators. You can put in all the factors that are relevant: your age, your height, activity levels, your goals, your current body weight, and it will spit out what you should be having based on if you want slow, steady, or aggressive cuts, or also if the goal is to bulk up and gain weight. It will churn out your calories for you. And remember on that as well, every few weeks, as your weight changes or your activity levels change, go back in and change activity, change your weight, and it might push your calories up or down. But remember as well, the next point, which is key, is the deficit, which you're looking for, 300 to 500 calories a day. It's created as a combination of movement, your training, and your food intake. Okay? So you can affect all of them. You can move more, you can train harder, you can train longer, you can consume more food or less food. They're all within your control. Okay? And a key point that's on a nutrition course I did a few years ago, which I'd always underestimated this point. You can only decrease your inputs of calories so far without it affecting your health, energy, and your wellness. So what I like people to do is work out their calorie deficit for food and then gradually ramp up the steps per day, adding in a little bit more cardio if needed to trim that weight off. If you keep aggressively cutting calories, you start running into deficiencies and it starts affecting sleep and all sorts of other factors. So I don't recommend keep cutting calories over and over and over again, because you get to a point where the weight loss slows down and then you think you need to cut more, and it's not a good place to be. Yeah. So we get the calories at sustainable level, and then we increase expenditure if we need to. Yes, we can tweak the calories if they're not right, but I do like people to increase steps, add in a little bit of cardio, and we manage it that way and keep the weight coming off slow and steady and sustainably. I mentioned as well about single ingredient foods, trying to hit them for 80% of the time. Okay. So single ingredient foods, what do we mean? Well, there's only one ingredient in broccoli, and that's broccoli. So broccoli, onion, spinach, carrot, apple, blueberries, potatoes, protein sources like chicken, beef, fish, eggs, turkey, all those. They're all examples of single ingredient foods, and they want to form the bulk of your diet. And as well, if you're eating them 80% of the time, you can add in then all the other things that you like within reason, within your calories, bearing in mind your calories are over a 7-day average. So if you go lower on certain days, you can have slightly higher calories on other days. Okay? It's like budgeting over a month with your finances. Calories, very similar. Okay? So like I said, 80% of the time we're aiming for, on your plate, a source of protein, ideally meats and fishes. Eggs are fine. And we want plenty of veggies. And if we have carbs, your choice. Fats as well, obviously, are important, but try and keep them as natural. Try and get them from oily fishes, things like that, if you can. And eggs, where they come in a natural source, not added to convenience foods most of the time. Okay? Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. While we're on it as well, based on blood work that I've had many people do over the past years, blood work that often comes back, the common deficiencies, even in a lot of people who have a good diet, what you would say a very good planned diet, the top 3 that I tend to see has always been magnesium, just because of over-farmed soil. So lots of the veggies and things like that don't have the magnesium content they used to have. Vitamin D3, vitamin D, obviously we live somewhere where we don't get a lot of sunshine and we're not bearing our skin a lot in the sunshine, especially in the winter months. So a lot of people are vitamin D deficient. Deficiencies in vitamin D can be quite serious. There's a lot of health implications in terms of hormones, immune system. They go on and on and on, in terms of your mindset, depression risk. So look at that. But you always want, if you're going to supplement with vitamin D3, you always want vitamin K2 with it. And also, ideally, you want magnesium supplemented as well in the diet for absorption, for everything to work efficiently. So D3 with K2, important. I won't delve into all the reasons for that, but for arterial health and things like that, you want to have vitamin K2 with your vitamin D. And then the last one of the 3 is omega-3s. And that's because we don't have a lot of oily fish in our diet. We're not having multiple lots of sardine, anchovy, mackerel, herring per week. Omega-3s for your brain health, metabolism, reducing inflammation, training recovery, and again, links with omega-3 deficiency and mental health and depression. So it's a massively important thing is omega-3. So if you don't have oily fish multiple times a week, you may want to look at a high quality omega-3 fish oil supplement that is screened for pollutants and it hasn't got heavy metals in it. Buy good quality, do your research on that. Nutrition as well, healthy snacks and quick meals. You've got to remember this, that willpower is like a muscle and it fades. And when you are tired, you're stressed, you've had a hard day at work, things haven't gone to plan, people will reach for things that are quick and satiating, that taste good. So in your house, in your car, in your office, always find some protein bars you like, have some healthy snacks. You may have some seeds and nuts, things that you like. Pick the ones you do like and will eat. Some fruit, whether it's blueberries, apples, whatever it may be, and some protein ready meals. I mean, we do the GSM ones at the gym, but there's numerous options. things that are 30 to 40 grams of protein, 300 to 400 calories. You can stick straight in the microwave and they're done in a few minutes. These will always help you hit your macro and your calorie targets rather than snacks that won't help you with that. They won't help with your protein intake and they won't help keep you fuller for longer and manage your diet effectively. Because bearing in mind, protein is the most satiating macro, which means that when we have a lot of protein in our diet, the brain switches off hunger signals, especially as well if you have a lot of fiber, which again comes in with your single ingredient foods like your broccolis, your spinach, onions, carrots, all your veggies. So diet high in protein, veggies, protein and fiber, you feel fuller for longer. Okay. So that is a key hack when it comes to long-term diet. All right. Next one, practical steps when it comes to your diet. And again, super simple things here. Make sure the foods in your fridge, your freezer, and your cupboards support your goals. Yes, you may have some things in there that you really enjoy that are going to form little treats that you want to have. But the majority of it wants to be, like we said, high quality, protein-based, veggies, high fiber, high water content foods. Okay, so always have them to hand wherever you go. Have a tracking sheet visible for daily calories, proteins, and waters. So at the end of the day, once you've used an app, you can use our 6Fit app, or you can use My Protein, MyFitnessPal. There's loads of different ones out there. Keep score of your proteins and your calories all day, your water intake. At the end of the day, over the week, keep score of what you've had that day. And across a week, you can quickly look at how good your week has been based on what you were trying to achieve. Third one, it's amazing how many people don't actually do this. Have a shopping list for the supermarket and stick to it. So when you write out what you want, tunas, your chickens, your beef, turkeys, things like that, write out your veggies, your fruits, write out your carbs, healthy fats, olive oils, things like that. Have a list. Do not walk into a supermarket because they are masters at making you buy things you don't need or ideally want for your goal. When you walk past the 3 for 2s at the end of the aisle, when you walk past the things on offer, they will go in your trolley. Stick to what is on your list. Most of the foods you want will be on the outside of a supermarket. Fish counters, meat counters, maybe your dairy, if you want your cheeses, if you want milks, things like that. Your fruits, your vegetables. Down the middle aisles is where you tend to find things with lots more ingredients, all boxed up to look really nice to entice you to buy them. And yes, you can have them, but they want to be the minority of what's in your trolley and the minority of what you're going to eat over a week. So bear that in mind. Have a list, stick to it. And they all want to be congruent with what you want to achieve. Next thing, mindset, resilience, and sticking to the plan. This is where most people struggle. So the key point you want to think about here is this. The most important 6-inch in the world, which determines your success or failure, is between your ears. Most important facts around that are: have a specific goal and a time frame written down. Guys, could you just mute it off for us? Is that all right? Just watch while I'm going through this. Cheers. So have a specific goal and time frame written down. So if you want to drop 6 pounds in 6 weeks, have it written down everywhere so you can see it. If you want to gain 100 kilo to your deadlift in the next 12 to 18 months, have it written down. So whatever your goals are, write them down and a time frame to achieve them. So you can then work backwards and reverse engineer What do I have to do each week, each month to achieve that long-term plan? Next thing is have big reasons why. So you always want to think about, well, it's all right having a goal, but why do I want to achieve it? And what is it going to do for me? If it's extreme weight loss, if it's gaining lots of muscle, what is that going to give me? Is it confidence? Is it going to be that I wear different clothes, go to different holidays? What are the reasons why you want to achieve that goal? Write all your reasons why. So if it's fat loss, I want to feel confident in my swimwear. I want to go to this place on holiday. I want to wear this type of clothes. I want to be an example for my kids. I want to be, I want to look attractive to my partner, whatever it may be, or somebody else's partner. That's up to you. Also, the next thing, be accountable to yourself, a group, friends, a coach, whoever, and as many people as possible. Tell people what you're going to do. Social pressure can be a large motivating factor. Tell people, publish what you're going to do. I'm going to be dropping a stone inside 12 weeks. Tell your friends. So when they see you, they can go, how's that stone going? How much have you lost? Hire a coach. Join our Super 6 program. Keep yourself on track. Keep yourself accountable. Okay. The next thing is keep score daily of the important metrics. If you are aiming to lose fat, drop weight, important metrics are things like, have I hit my calories? Yes or no? Did I hit my step count? Yes or no? Did I get the sleep right? Yes or no? Did I train? Yes or no? If you're looking to gain muscle, important metrics might be, have I got stronger today in my arm workout? Did I hit my protein goal? There's important metrics for every goal you have, and you want to keep score of them daily. Next thing, have a support network. It can be a training partner. It can be joining Super 6 group. Hey guys, just mute your audio off, please, for us. Cheers. Show me just keep your audio down for us, mate, just while I finish this off. Next thing, keep scoring the important metrics. Have your support network, release the handbrake and any roadblocks. That's controlling your environment, making sure you've got nothing in your way. So get the environment right, get your cupboards right, make sure you can plan your days to get to the gym, get your walks in, get your food in. Plan ahead. Next thing, planning your training, when it's going to be, planning your meals, even down to what time you're going to bed and what time you're getting up. Plan ahead and schedule everything so you stick to it. Last of all on that one was have your shopping list, stick to it, and do not shop hungry. Because if you shop hungry, you are going to be buying things that you don't want, that's going to scupper your results. All right? So like I said, have a shopping list, stick to it, plan ahead, schedule your training, schedule your meals, even your bedtimes. Next thing, managing your mind daily. Questions you want to ask yourself, or I invite you to ask yourself, what am I excited about today? What am I grateful for? What is the most important task I need to complete today? It might be food prep for tomorrow. Questions you might ask when things go wrong or go out the window. How can I learn from this? You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. If a day's not gone to plan, how can I learn from it? How can I move forward and not make that mistake again? Ask yourself the right quality of questions. And also remember this, that where attention goes, energy flows. So put your attention on the right things, your training, your nutrition, people you care about, all the factors, planning your workouts, getting to bed on time, good social connections. think about those things. If you focus on all the negative stuff in the world, social media, things like that, it can distract you from what you really want to focus on, going where you want to go and getting the results you want to get. And as well, another important thing for you to consider is the quality of your life always comes down to the questions you ask yourself and the meaning you give to what happens to you or for you. Okay? Every day you're going to ask yourself questions, and a lot of people ask, why me? You know, why does this always happen to me? Why does this go wrong? Why can't I lose weight? Now, if you ask better questions about, well, what can I learn from today? What can I learn from this situation? What can I do differently tomorrow? What can I do to make sure this doesn't happen again to me? Are all better quality questions than why me or why does this always happen to me? So you're gaining a little bit of internal control on external circumstances. Because if you let yourself be like a leaf blowing in the wind, you don't ever truly feel in control of your results, your destiny, your training, and your nutrition. So there's some important questions there. So that is all I've got for you guys on this one. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to shove this in the member groups so everybody can watch it. And I hope that's been beneficial. Thanks for joining, and I hope you got something from that. Cheers, guys.